Hey, hey, hey. Hi, guys. Wagwan. Wagwan, peeps. So, as you can see, it's just me at the moment. Maurice has toddled off somewhere when he should be right
No,
here
I
next to
haven't.
me.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. It's
Hi,
so good to be
everyone.
back.
It is really good to be back. And
Yeah.
yeah, after the last year, I am absolutely grateful for, everything, the ability to come back live, the ability to share with others. And yeah, it's just been a bit of a roller coaster. And so, yeah, we're going to be looking at the subject today in sickness and in health. It should say in health. It says and health.
Yes.
That's what we're going to be talking about because it's very fresh, it's very real, it's what we do. We talk about life issues, but we also talk about our personal issues. So really, really good to have you back, bro.
Yes. Yes. It's been in the making, hasn't it? We've talked about it. We were going to come in last year, the end of last year, and all the different obstacles as to why we didn't, but nothing before its time and everything on time.
Absolutely.
It is really good. I'm going to tell you something. Someone said that you look so young.
Did they?
They told me today they saw you at my sister and I went to a 90th birthday party. It was amazing. And yeah, someone said she just looks young, even younger from when they knew you back in the day. You said that you
I
still
know
look.
me and Brian was saying Benjamin Button syndrome where you start off really old and then you just get younger and younger. So
There's something that happens with me as well. So
absolutely.
I
So for those of you who are joining us, thanks for joining us. So we've got Trevor, our
that's
dear
cousin
cousin
Trevor,
Trevor. We've got our other cousin, Vivine, and who
Trevor
else is on
Buffett.
there? Yeah, who else is
Um,
on there?
um,
There's 5 people on there. Let yourselves be known. Reveal yourselves.
Sonia's
Hi.
on as well. Our sister Sonia is on as well.
Yeah, this is a family affair. Thank you, family. Thank you, family.
And
So
please
awesome.
share, send it out to others as well that might join.
Absolutely.
Hi to YouTube followers and listeners, to you all. We're supposed to be going live Facebook and Instagram, and if you are watching from there, hello to you as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to open my YouTube in a minute, so I'll be able to see any comments that
Yeah.
anyone's making as well.
Oh, Michael's here as well. Jackie's
Yeah.
husband. Hi. Thanks for
No,
joining us. So
no, that's our brother. That's our brother, Michael.
no, it's not. It says Michael
Oh,
Park.
Mike, it's Mike. It's Mike. Mike. Yes, I just saw you. I just seen
Yeah,
it
he's in
there.
the
Yeah,
So
yeah.
also, Vivine said that
Hi, Michael
said
Park.
it's in the genes. She said it's in the genes.
Yes, yes, yes. Well,
Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
I don't mind revealing my age because I'm coming 55. And I know
50.
by God's grace,
I
by
know it's
God's grace.
crazy.
Yeah,
As Vivine will know when we was running around like little rugrats. But yeah,
I was
very,
never
very,
one.
very grateful. Very grateful to God for what He's done and for what He's actually doing in our lives. And so it is such an awesome feeling to be able to come back and to share with you guys. And I think that when something is purposeful, it's something that just continues,
Yeah,
regardless of obstacles and regardless of challenges. So the
yeah,
reason why we really wanted to speak about sickness and in health is because for some of you, you know that Maurice Paul, I will call him Paul, was unwell for a while due to a stroke. And for those who are going to be obviously watching this back at some other time, yeah, he was unwell with a stroke, and you know, that's why I'm saying only through the grace of God. And I'm very grateful because, you know, the speech was gone. It was very slurry. He couldn't move. And so, you know, we wanted to really share this and to really thank God, but also to thank Catherine, his wife, who's really been there and supported him through it, because it's challenging. It isn't easy to be able to look after someone who was that unwell. But what you're going to do, Paul, you're going to share your story.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do our disclaimer.
Oh yeah, we're going to do our disclaimer.
Remember, we
Because,
used to do that.
I know. You know what? All the buttons are new. Everything is kind of
we changed the
different.
colors and the
Yeah.
buttons are new. So we're gonna just
but yeah, go ahead and do.
we're gonna dive in. So
and then I'll do my disclaimer, and then
anything that we say to you to encourage, to empower you, that's what it's for. Don't, you know, if you apply some of the things that don't work, like I like to say, no, cut off your neck. Yeah, no, cut your neck. We want to just be an encouragement to people individually and if you're going to get into a relationship or you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, and we want to just highlight some areas that are personal to us and effective for you guys as well. If you do hopefully try these strategies as well. Later on, we'll bring Mike on, who's a guest. He's in America, and he will have a quick talk. So we'll bring you on soon, Mike. Okay. And that's my disclaimer. No cut off your neck.
So yeah, I've got a slogan, and I've been saying this since I think 2014 when I first started my podcast. Like, I don't know everything, but what I do know, I will share. So it goes without saying. We're not saying that we're psychologists or anything like that, but I think through the gift of God, and I believe through our life experiences and other people's life experience, what we have learned from, that we're qualified enough to come and share these things with you. And it isn't one size fits all, because you know, you'll find in your relationships that this works but that doesn't work. But there's no harm in trying new things. There's no harm in seeing whether something different works. If you're going through challenges, or if things are good but you want them to get better, there's no harm in trying something different. And so we just want to bring new stuff to you, or stuff that you probably know but you probably haven't tried it, or you've tried it once and it hasn't worked. Maybe it might be a refresher for you to say, do you know what, yeah, let me try that again. So yeah, that's what we're here to do. We're here to encourage you. We're here to learn from you. So we want you to be in the chat, asking us questions, giving your comments and so forth,
your opinions,
and sharing with other people. Yep. So that's our disclaimer. And so yeah, over to you then, Paul.
Right. Where do I start now? On the 27th of January last year.
Am I gonna need to get my tissue?
Yeah, and this is going to be very emotional. So, yeah, this is a different kind of show today. Yeah, but it's encouraging. So on the 27th of January, I was at home, and I had a workman at the house, and I was talking to him as normal because I'm a chatterbox, you know. I just like people to feel comfortable when they come into the house, as opposed to just leaving them to work. You know, they get to see who you are, and you get to see a little bit of their life, and there might be something that you have that can encourage or empower them. You know, that's who I am now. Now I know who I am. I know who I am. So while he had to go for another part, and so he was saying to me, well, I'm going to be back in a minute. So as I was saying to him, all right, this is what I went to say to him. Okay, my friend, I'll see you in the scene in a little bit. And it went like this. All right, man, better love for the church. And it was like, wow, I can't believe that. I just slept. What's wrong? So, but in the back of my head, I actually knew what it was. And then he walked out into the living room, and then again, I went to say, all right, I see you, my friend. And again, it just went, so words to that effect. It's not exact. Yeah. Um, and he went. Now, my wife normally, because I do the school run with her. Because we had the appointment. We said, "Oh, um, I stay, and she'll just catch a taxi with the children to school." So I she came in at the same time as he was going, and so I said, "Am I slurring?" And it was coming and going, respectively. So she said, "No." I said, "It's only because." And then she said, "You are now." And she was on the phone to a friend of ours, said, "Call the ambulance." Yeah. I knew I was having a stroke, but I didn't want to say it. Somewhere I've read this kind of information of what happens to some people when they have a stroke. So that was somewhere in there. I just say that God revealed it to me, really, because I would have not gone anywhere. I would have just not had a clue on what to do. Anyway, my wife rang the ambulance and they said 40 minutes. By the grace of God, they were there in 20 minutes, 10 or 20 minutes. I think it was 10 actually. They were in the area. I'm surprised that I remember so much as well, because not only did my speech go, my memory went as well. I just couldn't remember things. However, I went to the hospital. And that time now, my speech was getting worse. My face drooped. And slowly, I couldn't move any of my right side. It just was gone totally. I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. I was talking loud. And I was going to pull up the recording, but it's a bit too emotional to listen to how I was. But I was misdiagnosed. Um, they didn't do an MRI on the day. They were sending me home. Um, after that was on the Saturday morning when they came to me and said it was Bell palsy, and sent me home in the afternoon. And I begged and I pleaded for them to keep me there. And I mean, with the voice that I done just now, with that voice and with tears, to ask them to do an MRI because I've had a stroke. But, they were still saying, take the steroids and we see what happens. Well, there's only two things that would happen. I would have had a bigger stroke and I wouldn't have been here at all. The second thing that would happen is that fatality. I would have died. Nevertheless, they listened, kept me to the Monday. I had some blood thinners then, and yeah, and then they done the MRI, and it came back that I had a stroke. But the reason why I'm telling that, and I'm going to cut that short as the rest of what happened in there, is that I have to take my hat off. When the Bible talks about in sickness and in health, I mean, my wife, there's another saying, let me just go this one. He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtain favor with the Lord. She's a good thing, because not only did she look after our 5 children, grandchildren that we have care of, she was going back and forwards to the hospital. She was washing me because I couldn't wash myself. I could eat with my left hand a little bit, because it did, the function wasn't great, but I could. Um, uh, I'm reading this. This is not even half the story. You're right. um, I, she's an amazing woman, and the reason, as I said, why we said in sicknesses and in health, is your or would your partner go all out, catching a taxi, looking after the children, taking them to school, feeding them. Then if she wanted to make something to eat for me, which was sometimes, if she'd ask me what I wanted, make that, bring it, carry water, 24, etc. water, bringing it up and doing all those things for me. I tell you something, you know, our wives, well, I can talk for myself. My wife is amazing. And I'm hoping that some of you women see, it doesn't mean that we don't go through any issues or we have problems. Because actually, at the time, we had conflict of interest. That's what I want to say. Yeah. And um, uh, she could have said, I ain't doing none of this. But I'm going to wash a man, wash his bottom and everything else. I ain't doing none of that. Clothes, take my clothes and wash them and bring them back. And it was so emotional to watch this woman live up to the word of, even if you're sick, I'm going to be there for you. Even if I have to do things I wouldn't ordinarily do, for a grown up, I can do it for a child, but for a grown up, she did it, you know? And all of this is emotional. All of it is I can't imagine, I can, some of it, because I know some of what was taking place in their mind. And so my encouragement to some of you men and some of you women, will you be there if your partner is sick, if they need you to wash them, clothe them, feed them, and do all the things that you ordinarily do, whether it's go to work half day, whether it is giving up your job for a season, or career on hold, or whatever it is. Are you that man and are you that woman? Are you that brother? Are you that sister? You know, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I just want to encourage all of you out there listening and the people watch it and repeat. Treasure what you have. Treasure what you have and go all out as much as you can for your significant other. We complain about all these issues that we have, but what if they died? You think about that just now. What if they just died on you? What if they became paralyzed on you? Are you jumping out? Are you going to run away? Or are you going to show that, you know what? I've got that gumption. I'm going to push through no matter what problems that we have, no matter what happens, sickness or in health. Are you going to be there like my wife was? I felt guilty all the time that she was doing so much for me. And she'd say, don't worry, you need help. When I went home, the same thing. I was 6 months of my life was, I never saw her outside. I never went outside for 6 months. And it was on her. And it was a lot. I tell you, it was a lot. So number one, I salute you, my wife, Catherine. And I salute all those that have that characteristic of I'm going to do it regardless of, you know. So, and just one thing I wanted to say, that's my full stop there, but I wanted to give a shout out to, there was two student nurses there that Jody, I said I'd give you a shout out. And um, I said it in my head before. I was going to say the other one first. Zara. Yeah, it's a big shout out to both of you because I tell you, out of all the nurses, they were the best. They was attentive. They were there. They listened to me, laughed with me, encouraged me. You know, but most importantly, look at me now, and I attribute that all to God and all the prayers, all of those people that prayed for me. I thank you so much with all my heart because God has done it. If I wasn't a believer, this would have made me a believer because look at my mouth. It's not there. Look at my arms. Yeah, I can move them. I couldn't do any of that. And when I said, Lord, please, not the gift that you've given me, this mouth, 3 days, 3 days, I got my speech back. Albeit that it was, slurred, but I'm back. And that's what I just wanted to say to you guys. Well, continue on with in sickness and health. Back to you, Debbie.
Yeah, so for sharing that, I was feeling myself well up because even like on Saturday when I saw you and you was looking dapper and Catherine was just looking amazing, I felt very emotional and came back and spoke to mum about how amazing you actually look and no walking stick, no slurring, you're able to move. And yeah, I do attribute it to God first and foremost, but he also set the right people round about you. And Catherine is absolutely amazing for all of the sacrifice. I would say sacrifice
Yeah.
because that's what it is. And marriage
Yes.
is about sacrifice. It's not about yourself. And when we are making the decision to be married, and we do say in sickness and in health, this is it. This is it. And the thing is, with the wedding vows, you are going to be tested on
Oh,
those
yeah.
wedding vows. You are going to. Do you get what I mean? And for better, for worse, do you get what I mean? It's like, are you going to stick with that person through those wedding vows? Did you actually mean that when you said it? Because you are going to
Yes.
be tested in every way possible. And the real you is going to come out in this relationship, in this marriage, period. And it is down to you whether you are going to have that stickability, we will know whether you are committed or not committed. And oftentimes I find that people find it difficult and challenging to remain married when situations and obstacles like sickness
Absolutely.
comes up. And so it's, to me, it's nothing short of a miracle. And the fact that you are back and you are raring to go and your wife has stayed with you and things have been difficult and challenging, but you guys have managed to navigate through that is absolutely amazing. And the reason why I said stay with you is because when people are sick as well, they can go into a completely different mode. They can be so angry and so bitter in their situation that they lash out at you, that they take it
Mm.
out on you, that you become the enemy. you know and so it's absolutely awesome. Do you want to read the comments there, Paul?
Yes. Let me go back.
So it's the wrong keys.
Uh,
It's the wrong keys because I've read the other ones.
oh, right. Okay. So, Ronki is my dear
Oh yeah,
friend.
sorry. Sonia said thanks for Paul for sharing, and then one key.
Yeah. Um, what is your percentage of recovery? Are you 100%? That's our cousin Trouble Buffett. How do you feel? You can see how I feel. I think you can see.
Your
Um,
smile says it
there,
all.
there, there are underlying issues that they've told me, but guess what? I'm living. I'm moving. When I'm in pain, I keep moving. I keep it moving because I
Mm.
won't let it paralyze my mind, that it paralyzes my body, you know? And I say it like that because sometimes when we take these things on in our head, it gives you more stress. You trap yourself in your mind of what they've said. You know, if I told you all what they said that I have, most of you, even you men, would be crying. Yeah, but I feel good. You know,
Da, 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 da,
I'm
da, da.
trust. And I trust God. You know, this was and is a battle of faith. Do I believe that He can heal? Do I believe that He's with me? And I do. But he doesn't just do it for me, He'll do it for all of you out there as well. You know, He's no respecters of persons. But do you trust Him? Will you seek Him? You know, as I said earlier, if I wasn't a believer, I would have become a believer because of all the prayers and seeing me now, you know. So um what's this? Excellent now. This is what you call partnership. Well done. That's from Sonia. Um, thanks for sharing. Ronki says, yes, you're back and we give thanks for you. Catherine is indeed a godsend. Absolutely. Um, my wife commented now and says, Jesus is amazing in me. There is no good thing. It's Abba, amazing grace on and in our lives. Yeah, and I agree with you, baby. But I also say to you, the word says, he that findeth a good thing. So it's not my word. This God's word that you are a good thing. Yeah. Anyway, Petal Blossom. Hey, Debs and Paul. Paul, you looked amazing on Saturday. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You look radiant, Paul. An advert for God's healing power. Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. God is awesome. Again, Petal and Sonia clapping. You hear of these things of people being healed, and you think, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But when it becomes a personal thing, when it's you and you feel and see it happening, I left there with better than most of the people who were there longer than I was. They
Mm.
were there, and in my healing, I overtook them. But I came in where they was at,
Mm.
you know? And there was people walking before me, but I exceeded them, you know? And as I said, I don't attribute to anything that I did. I just kept on believing, yeah? Through the pain, through the emotional, through all the emotional stuff, because it was hard. When you can't do nothing, it was hard. And all I had was my faith. That's all I had. That's all I could do is believe. I even said, Lord, my last bit, Debbie, that I want to just throw out there. I had an MRI another time because I was, something was happening. I had some pains. And while I was in the machine, they play the music and you listen to the music. And when they tell you it's over, oh, we're finished now. But the music was still on, yeah. And it went, and then it went dead. It just cut off, and I heard it's cancer, and then it cut off. Can you imagine being cocooned in this thing, and then we hear that it's cancer, and that's what I thought they found and saw, and I had to ask them. They said, "No, no one said that." I said, "No, someone said it." They said, "No," and I know it wasn't my imagination because the song just stopped, you know. And for a while, I just thought, if it is, if it is, then it is. I'll get through whatever happens then. It wasn't, thank God. But what I'm saying is that sometimes, and I'm going to liken it, sometimes your significant other might say something to you, yeah, and you don't like it. It hurts. It's not the right thing to say. But guess what? Instead of meditating on that, find the good. Find the good in the other person. Find that goodness and find forgiveness in yourself to forgive every time, not sometimes. That isn't marriage. It's forgiving all times. Forgive friends, forgive family. Because guess what? We mess up too. And we would expect someone to forgive us. So I just wanted to just say that because life is long or this is my slogan, by the way. This is mine. You had yours, Debbie. This is mine. Life is long or short, and you don't know which one you have. So live good.
All right, brother. Right on. um, I just wanted to say, Ronki said, my brother went through something similar in 2021 and had complete organ failure. God brought him through just like he did you. And every
Hallelujah.
day he is continuing to get better. You know, there's always going to be someone that we know that's going to go through sickness, and it's how the loved ones are going to deal with them. How are they going to be there for them? How are they going to support them? um
Wow.
trevor
I
Trevor
know.
said,
I just read that.
it's not your time, it's not your
Yeah.
time yet, cuz.
Yeah.
And then Petal Blossom, prayers and hearts. And Trevor said, I was married to a woman who told
That's
me
the
she
part.
don't do sick once I took seriously ill. That's why I said earlier on, and I wasn't just saying it, there are some people who do not and will not do this.
Yeah.
And it's literally showing you who this person is, because when you say those marital vows, be prepared. For those of you who are not married, be prepared that you will be tested, that you will be either you will be tested because you're the person that needs to look after, or that person needs to look after you. But whatever way it is, in every area of your life, there is going to be the sickness in health, the richer, the poorer. In what is the other one? For better, for worse.
For
Yeah,
reports.
absolutely.
Mhm.
You're gonna go through it. So some of you don't know that my husband was in a motorbike accident weeks before my brother had a stroke, and he broke his pelvis and couldn't walk. Was in a really really bad way. Shattered his I think it was his left arm, and again I had to do what I had to do. I had to nurse my husband. The good thing is that we did have a carer that came in, and initially I was like, "We don't need a carer. I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to do it all." But trust me, when you're having to go to work and you're having to look after and you're having to do business and you're having to do several different things back to back, yeah, that came in absolutely handy. But what I did to make life easier, I prepped meals, because the carer's going to come in, but she needs food, right, to warm up. She's gonna need to do certain things. She's going to come in and she's going to do certain things, but you also have to be there. So for me, I think it was difficult and challenging, because you're looking at your loved one who is normally up and mobile, doing the things that they normally do, and now they can't do any of it. They can't get up and go to the toilet. They can't wipe themselves. They can't wash themselves properly. All of those kind of things that they would normally be able to do, and you're having to do that, or a carer's having to come in and do that. And so it is one of those things where, when you are faced with sickness and health, are you going to step up? Are you going to be prepared to do what is required of you? And some people, they like, I know what Catherine's saying when they're just like, when she's saying like, it's not really me, it's God, or you know, I was just doing what I would do. But Trevor put it in there. Like his wife said, she don't do sickness. Because there are some people that's not going to do that. They're not going to wipe their wife's backside or their husband's backside. They're just simply not going to do it. They're not going to wash. They're not even going to wash your feet. Do you get what I mean? They're not even going to do that. They're not going to clip your toenails and cream you up, and they're not going to do it. And that's the reality. Like when you are married, when you are saying for in sickness and in health, you're saying this is a contract. I'm in agreement that this is what I'm prepared to do for you in the worst case scenario. If Trevor's wife got sick, I'm sure she'll be expecting him to do the things that he was requiring of her. But it wasn't her that got sick. And so I think even before people are going to take those vows, they really need to think about what they're saying. Because I think oftentimes people say the vows as a part of the ceremony.
That's right.
But living it out is something completely different.
Totally different.
Because you don't know what that looks like until you get there. And then when you get there, you have a choice whether I'm going to follow through with this. But in relationships, in marriage, it's sacrificial. It's never about you. It's never about what you are going to get out of this. It's what you are going to put in it in order for you to get out. And oftentimes, if it doesn't go your way or my way, then I don't want to do it. If the person's sick and I don't want to clean them, I have the prerogative to say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, you don't. You're in a covenant. You're in agreement with someone. If you go into work and you signed a contract and you don't want to do something, they will sack you. You're not fit for purpose. Do you get what I mean? You're not fit for purpose. How do you enter into a marriage, a whole marriage, and then say, no, do you know what? Actually, I'm going to pick and choose what I'm going to do, for better, for worse. Oh, it's got really bad now. Don't want to do it. What is your perception of worse? What is your perception of sickness and in health? What, a cold, a flu? Is that what your perception is of sickness and in health? You know, because these are marital vows that you are saying to somebody, and they believe you. They actually believe you when you say it, because in their mind, they're believing it for themselves. They're saying, well, you know what, I'm going to enter into this, and worst case scenario, I'm going to have to, step up my game. They believe it, and they expect you to believe it, and that's not a crazy expectation to have. So I wanted to share a little bit about this story that I read online, which I thought was really good. But you can read the comments, Paul, and then I'll bring this up.
Where are we? This one. Hold on. It's a blessing to have an incredible tribe. Not everyone does. That's Trouble Buffett, our cousin. We have Sonia. She said, my partner never gave up on me when I went through the same thing until this day.
Awesome.
Yeah. And Jackie said she's on Mike's laptop or
now.
computer. The thing is,
she actually said it's very important to see caring.
I can't see that on here. That's on. I was going to turn to that. That didn't come up.
Okay, it's very important to see caring from a biblical perspective. God really opened my understanding about
situation.
in my situation. And then she said, "It's me, Jack."
We just said Lorraine Popo. It says, I believe they see the moment as a fairy tale. Once the day is done, reality kicks in, and there is the problem. There, you know what? There lies the problem. You know, it was all right before. I love you, and now
your love is going to be tested. Your love is going to be tested.
Listen. We're going to come back with that kind of conversation.
I actually, from a biblical perspective, in 1 Corinthians, it speaks about what love is, and I think it's really important. Like, even whether you're Christian, yes or no, when you are entering into marriage, I think that you ought to know what love actually looks like. That
Yeah.
you you know, it starts with saying that it's patient and it's kind.
Hmm.
One of the things that I love that it actually says in it, I didn't love it before. I didn't love it before, but it says it keeps no records of
It keeps
wrong.
no records of
Yeah,
wrong.
but do you know why I love that now? Because when you keep no records of wrongs, when you let bygones be bygones, the stress that you was once
Listen,
feeling, the pressure
Debbie,
that you was once feeling is
I'm
lifted. It's
telling.
like
Listen,
I am
I
not
had
going
a
to hold you to that anymore because it's not serving me and it's not serving you. And when you
exactly
do that,
the
OMG.
release. Do you know what? It's funny you said that and you bring it up because that I you know when you spend time in your own and spend time with God, you learn a lot about yourself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you
Tell me
can't
about
move anywhere, you learn so much about yourself. And I didn't know that I was I had a judgmental spirit against my wife.
it.
Yeah. I had
Come on, talk the
records
talk.
records of her wrongs.
Yeah.
You remember, I've got a record too, but
Yeah.
all I was playing was her one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
On repeat.
listen, yeah, I
Mm.
was playing the vinyl, the tape, the CD. I had a DVD as well. Yeah, I had a band playing it as
You got it
well.
with pictures. You got it with words and pictures and audio.
you know, and when I was challenged, yeah, God is real. I tell you, yeah. When I came up against God with what I had in mind, He told me never mention it again.
Yeah,
It was like, what?
he would do
For
that.
yous out there that are believers, you know, Michael said record shop. Yeah, I did. So
Oh,
and
hold
the
on, yeah.
sound, yes, why am I selector? I'm selecting, know. But
You go and select the ones.
yeah, man, But as soon as I let that go, and you see, one day Catherine will be on this and she'll tell you her side as well. But I can tell you this definitely. Our marriage improved
Mm,
100-fold. Yeah.
it would be tested.
Because guess what? I didn't play anything anymore. I sold the record shop, Michael.
Yeah.
and,
Gave the
and
records
someone
away.
took over the sound.
So if some of you wanted to make a note of this, it's in First Corinthians 13:4-8. And this is the New International Version. So there's several different versions that you can read of the Bible. I picked the NIV version because it's quite simplistic. It's very basic. It's very clear. The King James is like thou and thou, and it can be quite difficult for some people to understand. So it says, "Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But I was going to go on to that bit. No, I won't bother to read 8. So go to 4-7, and it will give you the breakdown of the love
what
that we should
what
be
love
demonstrating
really is.
to. Yeah, that's the type of love that we should be demonstrating to our
Exactly.
partners, like
Yeah.
hands down, and don't get me wrong, to line up with that is like mind
It
blowing.
ain't easy.
You might get 3 of them at most. Do you know what I mean? But at least you're striving for something. If you
Striving
don't know what you're
towards.
striving towards, you just love in the way that you've been loved. And if that's warped, then you're going to be loving someone in a warped way.
Someone
You
may
know,
ask, what if your partner isn't giving you that? Well,
that's 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 irrelevant.
I'm gonna tell you something.
That's
You
irrelevant.
continue to do your part. You
Absolutely.
see where it says love conquers all?
Love conquers all.
You will conquer. I'm not talking about being in an abusive relationship and you're saying,
No, we're not talking about
no,
abusive
no,
relationships.
we're not
We're
talking
talking about
about that.
relationships that probably
Yeah,
struggling,
yeah. We're talking
relationships where
about
there's
that.
conflict.
Yeah, we're talking about, the everyday on top of each other, and you got some things that are in the way. You find it in your heart. When he doesn't put the bin out, don't cuss him.
Hmm.
If she don't cook your dinner, don't cuss her. You
Hmm.
know,
Find
you
out
don't
why
know
she
what
didn't cook
you,
your
you
dinner.
don't. Huh?
Find out what her day was like. Why didn't she cook your
Right.
dinner?
That's
She feels
exactly what I was going to
like,
say. You don't know what has been going on through the day. You know,
absolutely.
like me, I forget. I forget that I told my wife might tell me something, and this ain't the excuse of the stroke, even though it's a running joke. I say, I remember I had a stroke, you know,
I can't
but
remember.
I do forget things, but I apologize for it and say, well, I really truly didn't remember. And because my wife is understanding of what I've been through, she doesn't come at me and say, yeah, really, yeah. Well, I told you. She doesn't list anything. She moves
Hmm.
on. As soon as I said, I really didn't remember. She knows the sincerity, Otherwise, I'll joke it out and I'll say, you know what, I heard you, but you know, I'm sorry.
Hmm.
I don't mind saying sorry. And I hate just the word apology. Yeah. I
Hmm.
apologize. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's the title to what it is. But I'm sorry
Hmm.
runs a bit deeper. You know, we're not perfect. Husbands, we're not perfect. Husbands, our wives ain't perfect. Wives, our husbands are, no, not mine. Husbands aren't perfect. You know,
Cousin Vivi said not playing the stroke card.
but
So I wanted to share this quickly.
go on, go on.
So it's a story. It says Luke's story when a spouse becomes unwell. So 6 months before we got married, my wife went from being a vibrant 30-year-old with no health concerns to being unable to complete the simplest of tasks. It was one of the most fearful times in our life. Despite her getting sicker and sicker by the day, we had no diagnosis and no idea of what was happening. He goes on to say, in a relationship, when one of you is unwell, it can't help but affect both. While it was my wife who was in pain and whose body seemed to be just giving up, it also had a profound effect on my daily life. To see the health of the person that you love most in the world get progressively worse and being unable to stop it brought, brought with it a real sense of hopelessness, pain, and uncertainty. I would have done anything to take that pain away from her, and to be sick myself. And so, in sickness and in health, began long before officially spoke those vows in front of our friends and family. For me, while everything may change, nothing would change. Nothing would change. More than anything, I still wanted to build a life and a family with my wife and would do whatever it took to love and support her through this, whatever the outcome. There will be so many other people who have been through or are going through something similar to what I experienced. For me, there were five main things that helped me through that difficult period, and those are the five things that I really wanted to share with you guys, because I think it's important for us to understand how difficult and this is and challenging it is, whether you're married or planning to be married, whether you've experienced this already, going through it. I think that it's important for us to understand that there are things that we can actually do through the process. So the first thing that he says is knowing and understanding my limitations. And that's where I was saying in terms of having a carer coming in. I thought that I was superwoman and I thought that I would be able to do it all. But then I realized that having that support there really was great. So he says it was so important for me that I fully understood what was realistic during that time and what was not. He said, for example, I'm not a doctor and therefore couldn't do anything to change what was happening to my wife. I also couldn't shorten waiting lists or request extra tests, but I could cook tasty food, put on loads of washing, and be there to listen and support her. The second thing is letting other people help. It can be tempting to want to do everything yourselves during a period of uncertainty and difficulties. It can make us feel less helpless and even give us a sense of purpose. For me, keeping busy was really helpful, but I also recognized that I couldn't do everything myself. It just wasn't possible or healthy. Accepting help from friends and family was vital during that time. A home cooked meal or someone taking away the burden of a food shop was so helpful. I hope that this is helping somebody, because I just thought it was very practical what he was saying. Point three, connecting with community. So I'm not going to read all of that, but if you're connecting with people who probably who are going through similar things, or you're around people who likes football like you do, or going to the gym or anything like that, that was beneficial. He said having people to lean on and be supported by was invaluable, and was having time to talk about anything else but my wife's illness. Looking after yourself, I think that goes without saying. He says it was so important that I didn't neglect my own physical and mental health. And again, I think a lot of people want to be doing all the time for their partners, the good people who wants to be doing for their partners, and it can have impact on their health. When my son was diagnosed with cancer and I was just going flat out for a whole year, and the following year I literally felt like I was sinking. It was just a horrible sensation. It's like you falling and you're not being able to hold on. And that was because I was just going, and I wasn't filling myself back up. The fifth and final thing is remembering that she is more than the illness. So yeah, you can get into the habit of just talking about the illness, doing the appointments, doing all those things that is just to do with the sickness, and forgetting to treat the person like normal. And this typically happens with people who have cancer. So my best friend had cancer, my mum's had cancer, two of my children's had cancer. And I learned from my daughter having cancer that I needed to just treat her like normal. And this really impacted my friends and my mum, and I was able just to treat them like normal, and that really, really helps people. So he wraps up by saying the vows in sickness and in health was no doubt the most poignant and powerful part of our wedding day. In fact, this period of illness brought us even closer as a couple. While no two situations are the same, I hope our story encourages you to know that you are not alone, that there is hope, and that there are things that you can do that may help on the journey. So like I said, I hope that that's helped someone to really look at it from a different perspective, and kind of put it into perspective as well, because it is difficult and it is challenging, and nobody is saying that it's easy to support somebody who's going through illnesses, and excuse me, especially if it's over a long period of time. It can be difficult and it can be waning, but I do think it's important for you to get the support, do things that you actually like and don't feel guilty for doing it, going out with your friends and so forth. Don't feel guilty for doing it, because otherwise you're just going to be there constantly dealing with the situation, and probably become a bit resentful as well if your whole life is wrapped up around having to do this day in, day out with the person. So yeah,
It's
that's
funny
what
because you're saying that that's how I felt. That's why I felt guilty that Catherine was doing so much, and there was no time for her. You know, again, the support that we got where people were literally sending money because she doesn't have a full license at the moment. She had to catch taxis everywhere, and sometimes it's in a day, it's like £80, £60, A week. It was ridiculous. It was you don't know. So again, thank you to everybody who sold into us and sent monetary gifts.
Support and
It
help.
meant
Yeah.
a lot. I, because it's the Uber. So it was to school, back from school, to school in the afternoon because one finished at nursery. It was coming in a taxi. This is a day coming to the taxi to the hospital, going back home, and some would say, why didn't you catch a bus? You don't catch bus with these 5 children. Uh-uh. No, yeah, no, you know, no. And if Kevin will tell you, it's no. My mother-in-law would tell you, no.
It's too funny.
Uh, It ain't happening. Yeah, because something the way you want to act, yeah, you're not gonna be able to do it. Yeah, when you would have
They
come,
call social
what are
services
you
on
doing?
you.
And it's just so 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 it was taxes,
Yeah.
and so I felt guilty, you know, because I didn't want the nurses to wash me either.
Hmm.
I'm personal like that. It's my personals. So Catherine would come, but eventually, as I was moving, she would come there and support me, or I would ask them to take me in there, and I was holding on to the side and leaning up, literally leaning and washing my body, so that when she
Hmm.
came, she could just sit down, because I felt guilty, you know.
Hmm.
And as she said rightfully, that you said rightfully, you know, get on doing things for yourself. And
Yeah.
it's kind of difficult in our situation, but God has made a way so much, so much, so much, and that's a different story for a different time, you know, on how living in a damp house to moving to a mansion. It's our mansion, a 5-bed house. It's amazing. The whole journey has been amazing. And I'll end on this note, and it will be a scripture. It's all things work together for good for those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. All things. That's my
Mm.
anthem for my life, you know, because the sickness brought a blessing, you know.
Mm.
But if I looked at the sickness and kept my eyes on the sickness, I could
Mm.
have missed the blessing. Yeah. So I'm a testament that all things work together for good. Yeah. That's me. We said we're going to keep it an hour. We've just gone over the hour. I thank you all for joining us. We're going to read the comments before we go as well. You read them afterwards, Debbie. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you if you're on Facebook Live, if it went out live, or any of the other platforms. And for you, the after the fact, watching it now, thank you. And please leave comments. Please, 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 if you want to talk about a subject, okay, please, I was going to just put my email. Please, if you know us personally, actually, on the YouTube there, you can leave a comment and
Yeah,
we
you
will
can.
look at it. And what we'll do is that those subjects that you mentioned, we'll bring up, or we'll take it and talk about it. We'll also will send you a link where you can join us if any of you want to join us live. Unfortunately, Mike works on a rig, and so he's gone now. So next time he'll be on, hopefully he'll have the time to speak to you all as well. Amazing guy, he's an amazing guy. Yes, so please leave your comments and let us know what you want to talk about. Okay.
Yeah, and remember to subscribe and hit the
Yes.
notification button so that you know when we're going live or when we're about to go live. Also, yeah, share with your friends, share with your family. Yeah, there's lots of topics that we're going to be speaking about since we've been off for the last year. yeah, I've been doing some deep diving into my thoughts, my feelings, truth, the word, all of that, and it's just been absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, we really appreciate you for joining us back on our uh first episode of season two.
Season two.
Season two. So Michael said, I'm going to read the comments before we go. Michael
Yeah.
said, when I was training to be a carer, I was taught that to be a successful carer, you need to know the art of self-care, the holiday, the me time, the film night, but boundaries, to be self-mastered, self selfishness. Self,
Selfless masters. Master.
yeah, master. He said, thanks, Paul and Debbie. Wonky said, thank you both. Amida said, Debbie, did you post it to the group? And I do believe that I did. If I didn't, then I'll post it again. I love this live. You both shared amazing stories. Welcome back. See you both next week. Michael said, good selfishness. Sonia's got the smiles and the hearts, and Trevor, subscribe, like, and share. And Michael, Hamida said, Michael, ditto, and the notification button. So that's it for today. I am glad that we are back, and yeah, I think that there's just so much to share moving forward, and it is good when we get your input, so we'll be able to give you more of what it is that you want to hear. So
Absolutely.
do that for us. So guys, it's a wrap. Over and out.
That's it. Thank you so much, everyone.
Take care till next week. We'll be
Till
back.
next week.
We'll be
Bye.
back.